And we are here for the 6 times a year extra bases with Bristol and Booth. Jeremy Booth has been very, 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 very busy.
Yeah.
And I could probably add a few more varies. But before we get into your adventures, the big news in Major League Baseball is that the San Francisco Giants have hired Tony Vitello from the University of Tennessee to be their manager, despite not having any professional baseball experience. Jeremy, Tony Vitello may end up being one of the great managers of our time. He might end up being 2 or 3 years and done, back to college. What is your gut reaction or your instant reaction when you heard the news, although it's been out there for a little while marinating? Is this the right move for the San Francisco Giants? I guess that sums it up.
Man, the hard part about some of the stuff that we do is I know all these people.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to.
How many kids have you had that have gone and played at Tennessee?
Well,
I can think of one right off the top of my head.
Yeah, the most notable one would probably be Drew Gilbert. But I've known Tony from when he was at Arkansas, Missouri, and TCU before he went to Tennessee. We just, I know the guy. It's what it is. So, and with the Giants, there's a lot of
people.
Should
I frame it differently then?
No, I'm going to get to it. I got to get all the disclaimers out of the way because if I don't tell the truth, then people are going to look at me like it's not me. So I have to tell the truth.
Like you have not hiding something, but the transparency is not there. What's your agenda? That I guess would be the better word.
Well, the question, if I don't tell the truth, people are going to go, why didn't you tell the truth?
Yeah.
And I have to get all the disclaimers out there. I got a lot of people in the Giants that I know pretty well. I got, some very well. I have a lot of people in at University of Tennessee. I know all three of those guys that are there before Vitello left, meaning Frank Anderson, crossed paths with him for a long time. Not real well, but just enough. And know Tony, and then I scouted Elander. You know what I mean? So it's like you know some of these. Elander was at TCU, which is how he met Vitello.
Josh Elander, and then Ross Kivett, who was at Houston, I believe.
Houston. And I know Ross from Houston. So, I know these guys. And so, it's not as easy to just go in and say, to just say it and say what I really think. And I think the background of this situation is important. Tony V has done a great job as a college baseball coach at University of Tennessee. He did a great job as a recruiter and as assistant. He did a great job as a pitching guy. So it's not like the college resume doesn't support another step if he was going to do it, right? He's in the SEC. He's in a Power Four. He's won a national championship. From a college standpoint, there's not a whole lot left for him to do besides continue to do more of it, right? It's just kind of where that's at. On the other side, he's going into professional baseball, which, while today mirroring college baseball more than ever, is still a different game entirely. It's not
pro baseball mirrors college baseball.
It mirrors it more than ever because of the development systems and how they've gone about doing it, how the draft looks. It's similar. However, pro baseball is still pro baseball. You see a lot more of the emotional celebrations with these guys on the bases and when they do things like you do in college. College has always been a very rah type approach from an old school pro perspective.
And so, I think managing in the major leagues now is more about managing personalities than anything. That's the job. And of course, in college baseball, I think that it's also about managing personalities. But even more so in the transfer portal era that these guys, they can come and go as they please. Sorry, I just thought I would add that in.
It's all valid. There's a lot of reasons as to why leaving college baseball now would make sense. However, I look at this as a Nick Saban type hire when he left, once it was LSU. and went to the Dolphins as a
Yep.
center,
LSU
and
to the
then
Miami
and
Dolphins.
then back to Alabama. And what that means is I think Tony is cut for the college game. I think he likes the transition of young men leaving high school. He likes the recruiting chase. The SEC is it's not Major League Baseball. It's 56 games. It's not 162. You know, there's a different fatigue schedule. Again, he's energized with Bunny. I mean, he's got enough energy to light up the city of Fulshear. You know what I mean? But it's when it comes to the it's a different game. You got to manage personalities. You don't have 18, 19, and 20-year olds, or I guess 21 and 22-year olds now. I mean, those
23
guys
and
are just
24.
yeah, those guys are just going in the door. I mean, you've got guys fighting for contracts and dealing with agents in bigger ways, and the money.
Analysts.
Yeah, I mean, the money he's dealt with at Tennessee, even in the NIL era, without any guessing whatsoever, of what that could be is not even close to what he's going to deal with these type of personalities in professional sports. And pro sports are different because they're less about the team and they're more about you. And there's no way about that. Now, a collection of individuals going to go out and play and they're going to perform and they're going to compete and they still have to be a team to win championships. You're not doing this just to go out and hit a bunch of home runs and but you still, as part of that, that environment, if you don't perform, and you don't execute the players that with the players that the draft gives you and the scouts give you, you can't turn around and you can't go blame the scouts like you blame yourself. It's a totally different dynamic in an organization, year in and year out. It just is, and I wonder if he's going to like the pro game. I know he's obviously got a great relationship with Buster. You would have to have an exceptional, and I mean top of the Empire State Building type relationship, sky high with Buster Posey to get this type of gig, without ever having done it in pro baseball. And that's got nothing to do with Tony Vitello, that statement. I want to say that again because I think it's important. The relationship he's cultivated with Buster has got to be ridiculously tight. Otherwise, you don't get this gig. You just don't do it. You've never managed at any level. So he's going to walk into San Francisco and he's going to have guys like Drew Gilbert going to go, "What's up, man? How's it going?" Because that's what it is. And I'm picking a name out of thin air, so please don't read anything into this. He's going to have Adames go, "Who are you?" He's going to have the guys off the island go, "Wait a minute, bro. What are you talking about?" He's going to have the veterans who know what they're supposed to, don't need him to motivate them. What are we doing here? Right? And the guy he's gonna have to win over is gonna be Logan Webb. Now Logan Webb's gonna go in, he's gonna trust, he's gonna trust and Chapman. They'll trust Tony or Buster rather, that a change in energy was needed. But those guys don't like losing at all. And they're not going to go in there at being grizzled veterans who have played this game for a while and have Tony come in there and bump umpires and throw things. And that's not the mentality that he's got. So do we need a step up in energy from Bob Melvin? Clearly. Do we need a step up do we need to go all the way to Tony V? We're going to find out. But I think it's a Nick Saban, I love college sports type of deal. I think the fact he didn't want to leave Tennessee says a lot to do with that. It wasn't like he just wanted out, and there's a lot of reasons coming, with the way that things have been reported with the background there that he could want to go. So it's a long-winded answer to say I think it's going to be a couple of years and done. I think he goes back to college sports if I have to deal with it right now, and make a gut feel commitment. And I wonder about the longevity of the decision making process with this. And this one, Buster better be right. This is one you better be right because it's never happened before. You've taken over a franchise to reinstall the giant way, and you just did something no one else has ever done ever. So, which is might be right, but you better be right because otherwise, you and everybody else is now tied to this decision making process, including Zach Manazian and the scouting department and the player development department. Because if you don't go at the big league level, everybody goes the other way.
It's interesting. Max Scherzer, who played for Vitello at Missouri, talked to Ken Rosenthal last week, and this is an article I found on NBC Sports Bay Area. Max says, quote, "It's the competitiveness, it's the fire, it's the intensity, and it's the communication skills. He makes it so relatable. He's such a player's guy. He makes you want to run through a brick wall for him. He was perfect for me when I was in college. He helped even to foster my mentality and add to it, really helped bring it out of me. Mizzou was my ground zero where I really took off, and his fingerprints are all over that. So I absolutely believe in him. He is, to this day, one of my closest friends, and I absolutely believe he's going to get it done at the big league level. And that is coming
Um,
from Max Scherzer.
Max has earned the right to say that and have everybody give Tony the benefit of the doubt. It's a heck of an endorsement. Max obviously has a World Series ring in 19. He has a World Series ring, I want to say, with the Rangers in 23. Does that sound right? And he's on the way to a possible third one right now. So um, he's got skins on the wall. He's a likely Hall of Famer, and he's got the ability to say that with Tony. But that said, Max Scherzer didn't need to be motivated. Max Scherzer is the guy that we were in Washington, D.C. I'll never forget this story as long as I live in anything I've ever done in sports. Max Scherzer, you and me were in D.C. He's supposed to pitch for the World Series. He's supposed to pitch that night, right? And all of a sudden the net comes up. I remember looking at you. I'm like, yeah, sure. Sure, that's convenient. He's going to be pitching in Houston, right? And oh, yep, he's down. He's not going to throw. Astros go out and win that night. We get off the plane. Scherzer's pitching in Game 7. Of course he is, right? So, I mean, sure, I don't have any issue when it comes to Max saying that. But again, Max, like a Drew Gilbert, doesn't have to be motivated. If anything, Tony's going to have to calm them down, right? And that's not something that's going to really, Drew, as much as I love him, man, he's got his hands on the dugout and he's screaming like he's the ultimate warrior. You know what I mean? So it's something that fits right in. I don't know if that fits in the big leagues. Especially in California. We'll find out.
And now, locally, the big news is what the Houston Astros have done since we last spoke, and that is making major changes amongst the coaching staff and a change in the front office. That the team did not renew the contracts of Alex Cintron, Troy Snitker, Michael Collins, the catching coach, if you will, the bullpen catcher, catching instructor. Actually, not bullpen coach. Bullpen catcher. I shouldn't say that. That's Bracamonte, obviously. My bad. The major league catching instructor. And then they parted ways with assistant general manager Andrew Ball and Jeremiah Randall, the team head athletic trainer, which I think most people are not surprised by. But the big question is this. These guys certainly didn't forget how to coach 3 years after winning the World Series or 2 years after winning a World Series. So, will changes really make a difference in 2026? I don't know. I don't know if they will. Jeremy, say something because I have
Okay.
speaker view on and no one can
Okay.
see you.
I was waiting because 2 years ago, um, meaning not 25 and not 2024 and
Yeah.
2023, um, the issues were different. And in 2024, we did something called hit Alvarez second.
Yeah.
And in 2025, we decided we didn't learn from
Well,
2024.
2024, we did hit Alvarez second and hit Kyle Tucker
Tucker
second.
second.
Yeah.
And in 2025, we decided we didn't learn from that, so we did it again.
I
And I
think this
said
is
to
more of a front office thing.
Well, I said to you at the time, we were giving Joe a hard time about it. I was leading the charge, giving Joe a hard time because he's the guy that's at the front. I said, and I know I said on multiple one of these shows and even on Sports Extra, I said, I don't know. We don't know who's actually making that decision. I know I told you off camera. For those of you that don't know, oh yeah, and I know, I'm not plugged in. I forgot to tell you that. I told Jason off camera. I said, "There's a guy in the front office who's an analyst who's making this decision," and that's just the way that's going. And we know who it was, and we was kind of process of elimination who was left, and that guy's likely Andrew Ball. Now Dana may come out if it
And
ever
he
gets
may not be,
addressed.
may not be. Who knows?
Yeah, he may come out and say no, he's not. But I'm going to tell you that everything that just got let go, save the major league catching coach, has to do with the offense. Okay, the health guy. I think that look, anybody that has half a brain could have seen that the trainer was about to get whacked. Okay, that's just part of it. But when it comes to the changes they made on their staff, it's the hitting coach, it's the assistant hitting coach, and it's the guy in charge of sending the lineups down. Um, I don't. I mean, look. I mean, I know that I don't work for NASA, but this one ain't exactly rocket science. Okay. So when it comes to how this went down and why, you lose 2 years in a row with the same formula. Ball is probably the lone holdover still from Click, right? Andrew Ball. Okay.
One of
So
them, I imagine. I mean, I don't have the entire directory in front of me, but
yeah, but I mean, as far as like the guys that Click brought over, it was Andrew
yeah.
Ball and somebody else I forgot. What was the other guy's name?
Chris somebody
Yeah,
from the
see, and that's the point. You don't know because it's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And Andrew Ball, I think, was the guy from the Angels, right? Isn't that right? Didn't
he
he come from the
was.
Angels? Yeah, so I think we remember that one because he came from the Angels.
Would
And
it be Chris Parsons? Was that the name?
I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Could be Alan Parsons' project. I have no idea who that guy was. What I know is that um he gone, and I know that when it comes to these guys, and I'm not trying to again at all put them down, but if you look at the old wave of the Astros analysts, regardless, love them or hate them, and I'm not a big fan of them, they were good analysts. They were good. I mean, the guys that they had some good stuff going on at the right time in the game. I'm not on this. I wasn't on the Alvarez in the two spot, and Dana addressed it, and Joe said, "Look, it's my butt on the front line, and we got to win this year, and we can't do this stuff again." So they just said, "Look, what you did isn't working. You're gone. That's it. No one's going to remember you anyway, and bye bye." And that's what happened. I couldn't pick Andrew Ball out of a lineup. Like,
I
look,
could because I actually he was in York, Pennsylvania when I was working in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and the York Revolution Independent League team. He was there.
as a what?
I did not. He was helped sign players like player procurement. So and I never met him until I met him until he got here. So and I have the name. I have the name. What did I say? Alan Parsons. What did I say?
I said Alan Parsons. You
You said
said Chris
Alan
Parsons.
Parsons. I said Chris Parsons.
Yeah.
It's Scott Powers. That was the name. Fired in November of 2022.
Yeah.
I know where I got the other name now, but that goes. Yeah,
Look, they needed to go. There was an internal struggle with, hey, you're going to listen to this guy. This guy's going to hit second. Dana listens to his people. It's one of the best things about him, and also one of the worst things about him is that you got to listen to your people, but you got to know when to make your own decision. In pro baseball, I've run into this with some stuff we've had over here because we're all pro people in different areas of the game. Um, you have a tendency to trust people longer than you should because you want them to figure it out. Like, we're just going to figure it out. We have more time.
and you
The
figure they're
prof-
there for a reason,
yeah,
right? They're there for a reason.
absolutely. And the professionalism of what you do allows people to take constructive criticism, have their say, um, be able to go execute what they're supposed to do. And when they fall down, you try to keep them around. You don't just try to let guys go. You do it again and again and again. At some point, you got to cut the cord. And something that I have not been good at is cutting the cord before it's too late. Okay, before some damage has happened. There's been some significant amount of intentional damage caused here by a few people trying just to gun at me. Whereas, Dana got it right. He got this guy out of here before his contract was up. Right. So when it comes to what that's about, he's made the right decision. Now they got to go figure it out. They're gonna have to hire a hitting coach, hire an assistant hitting coach if they haven't already. There's another guy in the front office, and I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on because I'm only gonna keep my mouth shut because I don't really know his name, to be honest with you. I know his face, and it's not something that I think has any value whatsoever. And I've told you this before. I'm not pumped who this dude is or what he does for the organization, but they got to bring a couple guys in and figure it out, and some more analysts in the front office. Maybe they'll promote from within. Maybe they'll do that.
My apologies to Chris Parsons, the assistant general manager of the Sugarland Space Cowboys, because that was the name that popped in my head. So it was not.
Well,
Yeah, it was
if the
Scott
AG if
Powers.
the AGM of the Space Cowboys is more recognizable than the AGM of the Astros, you might have a problem. No offense to Chris over there at all.
And now let's talk about the main event, New Balance Future Stars Series with some of the top players in the country and in North America. Am I
Yep.
selling it short?
No, look, it was a
Hey,
I went,
let's first of all talk about the home runs.
okay,
Cole Prosek,
into the back of the right center field bullpen.
and then the other guy, the one that we talked about in the selection show, who I said, yeah, he's got, I think I said he's got big time power.
Easton Autrey.
Easton Autrey, baby.
Yeah.
Not to be
So
confused with Michael Aubrey.
no, Easton Autrey. So Prosek had a very sweet pass at the ball. It was Landon Brown was on the mound. He was a first round type guy. Um, 95, 96, running away, running a little bit away from him and got a little bit too much of the middle. And Prosek hit this thing to the other side of the bullpen in right center field in Globe Life, which is not easy to do. And then the next inning, you got RJ Cope, 95 left on left with Easton Autry, and Cope throws 195, gets a little bit more too much of the plate, and Autry hit this thing about 25 rows back. Now, in a in a in a for a couple of reasons, that sequence was really good. Number one, it's Brown and Cope, so it's legitimate stuff. It's legitimate stuff and execution and high profile guys, guys that both project to be starters. And then it's Prosek, who might be the best hitter in the country. And I'm going to say that again for a lot of people. He might be the best hitter in the country from a high school standpoint. Okay, and then there's other guys who are going to be higher lauded, who deserve the accolades. But Cole might be the best hitter in the country as far as a pure bat. And then you've got Easton Autry, who has, if there's a guy that has more power, there's a couple guys that might have as much. RJ Cope has raw power. Easton's got big raw power. This guy's got big raw power. But if there's a guy that has more raw power, I want to see it. And I've seen a lot of the guys that are allegedly, because there's always guys you don't know. Maybe I'm the only guy that says allegedly, but a lot of guys allegedly have the power. Easton hits ball further than anybody I've seen.
Well, I think you are. I think this is why we work so well because, yes, you just gave that. But what I think you're missing is the post that you placed on the New Balance Future Stars series page, that this is still what stands out to me. And you wrote, it took a night to reflect and think back on what we saw. I spoke with 2 active general managers, 2 former GMs, multiple special assistants, scouting directors, assistant directors of scouting, area scouts, cross-checkers, and others. I can't imagine what else is left because you seem to have named them all across the spectrum who were in attendance. None of us can recall ever seeing a high school player in a live game hit a ball as well with wood and as far as Easton Autrey did. It went about 20 rows up with a playable exit velocity of around 112 miles per hour off a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. None of us can ever recall seeing a high school player in a live game hit a ball with a wood bat as far as Easton Autrey did. You had a typo in there, and that's why I had to. Let me repeat that. None of us can recall ever seeing a high school player in a live game hit a ball with a wood bat as far as Easton Autrey did. Jeremy, that's incredible. And it wasn't against inferior competition. That's what's so crazy about it. And I'm sure I'll have the video and I'll post it here. So,
well, last I checked with the company Instagram, that one swing had been seen just on the Instagram over 200,000 times. Okay. Now, when it came to, Twitter or X rather, and Facebook, things like that, it was shared so many times. It's probably well over that 350, maybe 400,000 views. But on Instagram alone, last I looked, which was probably a week ago, it was over 200. Okay. Now, that's a true statement. I've thought about it now for about, what's this, 22nd? I thought about it for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and I can't think of one that was hit that far. Like that ball was absolutely shillelagh'd, and RJ is a first round arm. You know what I mean? So it's not like it was. We're not playing against 15-year-olds here. We're playing against a guy that he's going to have to face all the way through. And he absolutely laid the pipe on that thing through the head, hit it so far it was unbelievable. His sound was great. And Easton, he hit it. One of the things about Easton and Cole is obviously Cole hit his to a different part of the park, but they hit it and they started to run. They hit it and I think Autry knew his was gone. I'm not sure Cole did because of where he hit it, but I think Autry knew his was way gone. And it was about, I'm going to go ahead and put my head down. I'm going to start trotting. It makes it more impressive. Now I know we're a day and age of of over celebration on everything we do, and that's just part of the era. But when it comes to that, it was refreshing to see it. the power on display, the consistent hard contact, the execution, the upside. I set out to make a point, and I made a point, Jason, in a few areas. Okay, I made a point this year not only with the talent, the interclass elite was really good, and the main event was really good at the same time. Even the junior colleges that we walked in there had some legitimate prospects. Whether it was the Division III schools, the Division I schools. Um, but the point I was making was enough of the drama, enough of the stuff that we've had to deal with here, enough of the self-servingness. We're going to go get about baseball. We're going to go about kids. We're going to announce our presence, to borrow the phrase of Bull Durham, with authority, and we did. We have, and it's funny because the best thing about this platform, I was telling somebody the other day, best thing about this platform, besides being able to work with you every day when we do this, is that I'm able to say what I want to say. You guys don't ever tell me not to say it. I have to get to be able to say what I want to say, and that's the best part. So I'm going to say this: there are people that absolutely set out to try to destroy this event. They set out to do it. They set out to destroy what we're doing. They set out to destroy. I got one guy who gets on the phone and tries to call people that are part of this organization, other places, to try to run me down behind my back and thinks I don't know about it. I mean, it's unbelievable the drama you find, the unnecessary childish drama. And those kids, those young men, gave me and everybody else an education in class. They went out there and they handled their business, and who cares? We're going to go do this. We're here, and we believe, and we come together as a group. And it was powerful, man. It was awesome to be a part of. There's a kid, Grady Emerson, who we talked about, who wasn't part of any of this stuff. Okay. I'm going to tell the story here. Grady Emerson goes to Fort Worth Christian High School now. Rusty Greer's the head coach. Grady wanted to spend some time with me, gave me a very big compliment, which I'm not going to repeat here because it sounds self-serving. And I don't think I deserve it, but it was a very big compliment, unsolicited, to somebody else. Because of that, Grady doesn't need to play at all. He's tired, he's worn out, he should just chill out and go do his thing. But he wanted to take batting practice. There was an area scout. I think he's an area scout from a club who was offended that he wasn't going to go to his own scout game on Sunday and decided to try to put a stop to it. The fact that this is going on and we're dealing with kids like this shows how bad we are at this as adults. This kid wasn't going to play a game. He just wanted to go hang out with me and take some BP. That's all he wanted to do. That's it. And because of that, this other guy got so offended, as did some of the other guys around him, because he wasn't going to their scout game on Sunday, which he scheduled against it. The kid felt, out of place and didn't do anything. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just saying that's how that went down. And he's a great kid. We sent him his bat, we sent him his gear, and he wasn't going to play in the event anyway. It was entirely up to him. But it was a situation where we have now started to get in the way of this stuff, to have adults decide, man, oh, I got to have this, or I got more of this, and they're not doing anything to create it. They're not doing anything to help this thing move forward. They're not doing anything to evolve with the industry or the game. They're not doing anything to put the time in. They're just disrespecting things across the board. And the most powerful thing about the organization that we have here is the young men and their families as part of this organization that continue to make me want to get up every day and fight the world. And they actually make me want to do that because of the example they show. I am openly saying this on camera. You get on the wrong side of me, that can be an issue. I'm not the nicest guy in the world when it comes to it. I don't forget, and I go all the way through it. That said, these kids are taught me a little bit about how to handle some stuff with class. I'm proud of them. It was an unbelievable event. I'm thankful to have been part of it, and can't wait to see them again.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching another Extra Bases. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. Till next time, goodbye.